So let me show you what is in the Honor House DIY Decor Kit, okay? First off, this is a custom wood house that we cut ourselves. Just want to show it to you. It's nice and chunky. Love it. Perfect for crafting. And then these are the other components that are going to be in your, oh, I just thought of something. Let me plug this in. Oh, I do have it plugged in. Just making sure my glue gun's plugged in for later. And you're going to have some beautiful napkins in your kit, okay? One of which, this is why I really wanted to create this with you today on Flag Day. One is this beautiful kind of, it's got a vintage feel, this beautiful flag kind of blowing in the wind. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. So you're going to have this napkin. You're also going to have a couple of other napkins. You're going to have these beautiful poppies, some napkins with poppies on them. And then this lovely wood grain napkin, okay? So this is the napkin I'm actually going to start with. We're going to do a little bit of, play a little bit with all three of these, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about collaging napkins, especially when you're putting a napkin on top of another napkin. The tissues are very, very thin, so it can see through. So I'm going to show you some tips on how you can still have them look really beautiful when you layer them on top of each other. Okay? Does that sound like fun? Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here watching tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and post a link really quick before I'm going to start painting here in just a second. And I'll show you the other things that your kit, that you will need for your kit. We don't put anything in the kit that's wet, so you'll have to use your own paint, Mod Podge, things like that. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I should have been a little more prepared. I just actually finished a live in my faith journaling group. We're starting our creative escape in there. Okay, Honor House. I know somebody's going to ask me while I'm painting. So I thought I better go ahead and do it now and touch my phone before I have paint on my fingers. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm just going to post this right here in the comments. And it is called the Honor House DIY Decor Kit. We have been selling these for a little while. We do just have a limited number left of them. So if it's something as you watch tonight and you think, gosh, I want to try that out, make sure you jump on those kits before they're all gone. So we're starting with the wood block here. I'm going to be painting my wood block out with white chalk paint. This is Country Chic paint. The white color is actually called Simplicity. We carry this in the shop. I love to paint with chalk paints because they're just, y'all, they're just so easy and it gets such a beautiful, pretty coverage. So this is what I'm going to be using tonight. And I'm just going to quickly, the first thing I'm going to do here is just quickly paint my house block. And because we are napkinizing this house block, that's my word for it. Anything that you alter with a napkin, I like to call that napkinizing. It really doesn't have to be a super great coat, okay? So this is just going to take just a second to paint. If you don't have chalk paint, just use your regular white craft paint. That will work just fine, okay? It can be kind of hit or miss here and there. The reason I like to paint it is because I want these napkins to really, really be vibrant and pop on my house block. And by painting a light color on them, it's like when you put the tissue on, the top tissue of the napkin on, it's like a spotlight. It's basically like a spotlight shining through your napkin, so the colors are very vibrant and pure. So this will just take me a second. I'll have my heat gun here to help speed things along. Hello, Nancy. Hi, Joe. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Y'all make sure, I'm going to try to watch the comments as best I can. So if you have questions about anything, please feel free to ask me. Feels good to craft tonight. I'm kind of a, are y'all you know, there's usually two kinds of crafters. Some people like to really craft like in the morning, early birds, I call them. And then some of us are a little bit more night owls when we craft. Are you an early bird or a night owl? Y'all tell me in the comments. I'm curious. Sometimes I can be a little bit of both, but I tend to feel more creative at night. It's when those creative juices get to flowing. So I'm just going to dry this really quick so I can turn it over and paint the other side. I am painting the entire house, okay? Sides, front, back, bottom, everything, okay? The other thing I like about chalk paint is it dries really fast. And that's nice because I'm kind of impatient. Hi, Rebecca. Hey, Sylvia. Oh, I see some early birds. Belinda says night. Yeah, usually it's kind of one or the other. I wish I could be both. I wish I could just craft all day. Okay, I'm just turning this over, and I'll make sure, y'all don't really, I mean, painting is painting, but I'll make sure that you can see what I'm doing as I do the steps. Every step of the way, so that way you'll know exactly what to do. Joan says all day. Thank you for ordering, Penny. Okay, so just one quick coat. Don't feel like it needs extra coats, anything like that. Just a quick coat, and it's going to be perfect. I'm going to slide this out of the way. So let's dry this really quick. I love seeing y'all's comments. Sylvia says anytime. Anytime's good crafting time. Perfect. All right, it's drying nicely. Holly got her honor kit today. That's awesome. I called this the honor house because, you know, I want to be a house. I want to, I mean, part of this is just me. I love the word honor. I wanted to create a DIY house block that was like a tribute to honor those that have either are in the, have, you know, past, present, future servicemen that have, you know, given and sacrificed so much for our country. I also liked calling it the honor house because I want to, you know, I want this piece to honor the flag. I want to continue to foster that honor and nurture that honor with my family, what my kids are grown now, but my grandkids, you know, all of the things. And so, so I just kept coming back to the word honor. And so that's what this piece is all about. It's a tribute. Okay. So I have it all painted down. You can see, and look, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just paint it. Don't worry about like if there's a knot in the wood or any of that kind of stuff. It's all going to be great. Okay. So the first napkin we're going to start with in the kit is actually going to be this beautiful white wood grain. Okay. It kind of reminds me of shiplap a little bit, but it's a white kind of wood grain piece here. And I'm going to be putting this is way more than what you're really going to need, okay? But this way you'll have some extra. I'm going to lay this kind of here on the edge of my house, okay? And then I'm going to just take my fingers and press, okay? And this is going to help me see exactly the width of my house. I don't have to measure it. I don't have to do anything like that. I'm going to go ahead now and just fold it back. I can see the crease really, really well. So I'm going to be cutting through 2 layers of my napkin at the same time. I just left it folded. And I'm going to be cutting. And it doesn't even have to be perfect cutting because we're going to sand the edges anyway. Okay, so it's going to be just fine. So look at all this napkin you have left over. Lots of fun. It's a great background napkin. It's great to play with. But this is actually going to be the napkin that's going to be all around the outside edge of our house, okay? So I'm going to be putting on my napkin with Mod Podge matte. This is by far my favorite medium to use when I'm adding napkins to wood, okay? It works great. I'm not a fan of glossy, and if you're in my napkin club, you know that. The glossy Mod Podge, here's what I have against it, okay? It just always feels sticky. Like it always feels sticky. Like it could be 6 months from now and you could touch it or sit it on like your shelf or your counter and you lift it up and it kind of peels, like kind of sticks, you know, it's just sticky and tacky. And I just don't like that. I like the Mod Podge matte because you don't get that sticky feeling. You don't get that stickiness, okay? Let's see here. Hang on 1 second, girls. Oh, something just froze on my frame. Am I okay? Can y'all see? Did anything freeze for y'all? Something froze for just a second. Okay, it looks like we're good. Okay, Lena says she was blessed with 3 parents, 7 uncles who served. We'll need to do a lot of houses. Yeah, it could be a great thing to gift to someone. Maybe you want to thank someone for their service, someone in your family, or you know, I don't know, but I just think it could be a great, beautiful gift. Okay, so I'm going to separate my napkin now, and I'm going to show you my method. I actually already started, but here we go. I do what I call the lick and stick method. It works great for me, and this is how it goes. Okay, it's really difficult. I'm going to tap my finger on my tongue, and I'm going to take my thumb, and then I'm going to tap them together. You don't want it to be wet. It's going to start to dry, and this is your own DNA, so it's okay. It's going to get a little sticky. And then you're going to press on both sides of the napkin, and then look what happens. They just kind of start to separate. Isn't that perfect? This is a 3-ply napkin, which means you got to take 2 plies off. Okay, and you can see this one already started, so I'll take that one off. So you've got 3 layers. You need to take 2 off to get to that top tissue. Okay, isn't that pretty? So pretty. Hi, Rhonda, watching from Washington. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of this out on a plate. Again, Mod Podge matte for what we're doing today. And I'm going to start here with my house on its side. Okay. If you're watching from your phone and you can't see, you can always swipe and move the comments out of the way. So I'm going to start by adding a nice healthy coat of Mod Podge on. I'm going to just do these 2 sides to start. Sometimes the house on the roof will be a little, what's the right word? A little more texture there, so you might need to add a little extra Mod Podge. Don't skimp on the Mod Podge. It doesn't need to be dripping, but just really good healthy coat. It should look really wet. Let me see if I can get this in the light. Oh, I don't think I can. I bet I can when I do the top. It'll probably show. But I have it, it's very wet. I can see it's very wet. So I'm going to take this piece of napkin now, and I'm just going to kind of line it up, and notice what my hands are doing very gently. If you're heavy-handed, you got to be really careful. Be very gentle on this. And I'm just going to gently kind of pat, and then I'm going to grab this. This is important. This is a chip brush, okay? It's a natural bristle brush. It's dry. There's nothing on it, okay? We carry these in a couple different sizes. They're inexpensive, less than $1, but you can find them at home improvement stores, craft stores, everywhere, really inexpensive. So you're gonna want one of these, and I call this my pounce brush. I'm gonna take this brush now, and I'm gonna really pounce over my napkin, up and down, okay? No brush strokes, not like that, actually up and down. And it's going to press and push that napkin tissue down into the texture of the wood. Okay, that's what we want to do. Okay, now don't worry if you've got some edges. Do you see how I have some edges here? I'm going to sand those off. Okay, so it's okay if you didn't cut it exactly. It's really hard to cut stuff like that exactly when you're just pressing it out. We'll wind up just sanding that off. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. And you're gonna see, I'm doing my napkin long ways so that the lines go up all the way over the edge. I've got my project on a craft mat right now. So again, this is Mod Podge mat. Good coat. Oh, your youngest son is in Iraq right now? Oh, goodness. Penny, I will keep him in my prayers. And I want you to thank him from me for his service. That's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna pat, pat, pat. Okay, here we go, and pounce. Now you're gonna realize really quickly, sorry if I'm shaking the camera, you're gonna realize really quickly that, oh, it didn't quite reach. Okay, it didn't quite reach, but that's okay. We're gonna patch it. Nobody will ever know. So go to your napkin, and we're gonna try to see the lines that are in the shiplap. That's what we want. We want to connect these lines, right? So I'm just going to find a portion of my napkin here. It's not gonna need to be much at all. And I don't want you to even worry about trying to get it sized to the edge of your house. See the two lines there? That's what I care about lining up. So let's separate the plies. Remember 3 plies, so we got to take off 1, 2. Oops, I tore it just a little bit, but that's okay. Alrighty, here we go. I'm going to just go ahead and, Mod Podge dries fast, so go ahead and put a little bit more on. If you're gonna overlap it a little bit, and sometimes it just happens, make sure you put a little bit of Mod Podge on top of the napkin. I'm gonna try to kind of butt mine up. It'll overlap just a little bit. Whoops. But the goal here is to line up those lines. Okay, so do you see how I have the lines together? And I promise you, once this is on here and it's sanded, nobody will ever know but you and me that it was patched. And I'm not putting any on the bottom of the house. I'm just leaving it. It'll be sitting, or you could even sit on top of something. I'm going to show you that here when we get it all done. And there we go. Okay, so I have all this extra, but I'm just going to sand that part off. So before I sand it, I want to make sure that my napkin, my Mod Podge that's underneath, is completely dry. So I'm going to take my heat tool. If you don't have a heat tool, you could just be patient, or you could grab your blow dryer. I'm just going to make sure this is dry before I sand the edges. If it wasn't, it could possibly pull and tear my napkin, okay? Thank you, everyone, for being here and watching tonight. We almost have 200 people watching. That's fabulous. And thank you again for the stars. That's so sweet of y'all. Okay. The other thing I'd like for you to do, now that we're kind of getting into the good stuff here, is I would love for you to spread the joy. Let's spread the crafting joy. And I would appreciate that so much. I just realized I don't think I have mine. Here we go. I have it right here. Spread the crafting love. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So everybody can see these fun techniques that I'm going to show you tonight. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to sand off the edges. And you can do that different ways. If you have a foam sanding block, if you have a piece of sandpaper, if you even have like one of these, like an emery emery board. I had to think about what it was called. And then you can come in and we're just going to sand off the edges. We want it to be flush. Might just be the tiniest bit, but we want that. We want it to be flush to the edge of the house. So I'm just going to go around every edge here. Much easier to sand it if you set it down. That's for sure. Let's do this side. That way it's nice nice, looks really pretty, looks really a part of the wood. Okay, so now it's nice and flush to the edge. Isn't that pretty? I think it looks great. And see how, see how you can kind of see the ridges in the wood there? See how the napkin just really, this is why this is so important, because it pushes the napkin down into the texture of the wood. So it really looks like this has been imprinted on the wood, okay? Really, really nice. Alrighty, girls. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Glitching. Maybe it's my phone. Oh, I hope not. I saw it freeze up one time, but if it happens a lot, I would recommend going out and coming back in, okay? And see if that fixes the problem, okay? Oh, we hit 200. Yay! That's awesome. Thank you so much for watching tonight, gals. Okay, so let's move on to our flag. Our flag napkin is what we're going to be working with next. And so I am going to cut this. You're actually going to have extra of this napkin as well. So I want to show you when it's open. Do you see how you have 4 different images? We're going to need 2 of these for this house block. Okay, so this will just be extra. You can hang on to that for something else. We do, you may decide to put one on a little canvas or something for a tier tray, or make a card with it. You can make cards with your napkins. There's so many things that you can do with them, so many things. So here we go. I've got this cut, and I'm gonna leave it just like this square, okay? Now I'm gonna take my lick and stick method, right? Here we go. And press. Look at that. I'm gonna get both, well, oh, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna get both layers off at the same time. This again is a 3-ply napkin. So you've gotta get both plies off. Girls, if you don't, here's what happens. If you forget and you don't, and you go to put this down with the plies underneath it, what happens almost immediately is the top tissue tries to release, and then it gets bubbly and it tears and it just kind of turns into a mess. So here's what you're going to do if that ever happens to you. Don't throw away your project. Don't do that. Dry it completely, and then just sand it down and paint over it, and you get a do-over. You get to do it all over again. Okay? Okay, so I want you to see that my napkin doesn't really fit exactly on here, right? It's not tall enough, so it doesn't cover the whole thing. We're actually going to put the napkin on at an angle, because remember, we're going to layer the poppies in here too, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this on at an angle. I'm going to take, actually, let me put it on here and then I'll show it to you, because I think it's going to be the easiest way to see this is going to be to actually see it. Creative people, we're all so visual. It's going to be much easier to see. So I'm going to put on a healthy coat of Mod Podge. And by the way, I'm decorating both sides of my honor house, because I love to decorate on like tier trays and vignette decorating and things like that. And so most of the time you can see my projects from both sides. So I want both sides to look amazing. Okay, so I'm going to put this on at an angle. And then I'll try to kind of give you some tips. Okay, I'm going to just barely pat it in place, right? Don't smooth, because it will tear, okay? Just barely, just tap it in place. Then grab that pounce brush that's dry, and then we're going to pounce down on top, up and down, straight up and down. Really push those wrinkles and crinkles. If we're going to have some beautiful texture here, but we don't want like raised wrinkles or raised bubbles, anything like that. Okay, this is how you're going to put your napkin on. Let me pull these up so that you can see. Okay, here's a good point, a rule of thumb here, or I don't know, a way to kind of gauge the angle. The corner of the napkin is right here at the corner of the house. Do you see how it's just barely up, barely above that? And then it angles up. There's a little tiny bit of my house showing right here, but it's going to blend in with that white stripe of the flag, and I'm not going to have to worry about it at all. So I am putting this on at an angle. Okay, can everybody see that okay? That is the angle. I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to sand off the edges, but I'm going to hang on to the edges. I'll show you. I'll show you. Oh, look, we made it over 200 now. That's awesome. Oh, somebody is giving more stars. Thank you so much for that. Those stars are really nice. And I know one thing that you may not know, but when you give stars, Facebook sees that and says, hey, people like what she's doing, and they'll show it to more people. And that really is helpful to us as artists. So thank you so much for helping me and giving me stars. That's just so sweet. Okay, we're good and dry. I'm going to take my sanding block. And here we go. We're going to sand it off. We want it to be flush again to the edge. You don't have to keep all the scraps. I just want to keep a portion, and I'll show you why. Now, I kind of like things to look a little distressed, little shabby, a little distressed, especially with this particular flag napkin. I just think it's got kind of a vintage feel to it. So sometimes I like to take a little piece of sandpaper again, or your sander, whatever, and I might come in and I might kind of scuff up the edges just a little bit more, like around the corners, just a little bit more. Just looks really pretty. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just a little. I don't even know if you can see it very well. Just a little. Okay. So here's why I was saying to maybe hang on to a little bit of this scrap right here. Okay. If you look right down here, remember this corner right here? It kind of bothered me that it looked so blank. Now I'm going to put some poppies right over in this section. Okay. So I actually am going to take my scissors and I'm cutting just this portion of this. It's like the white portion of the flag here. And I'm going to put it right down here at the bottom, just in this one corner. And again, don't worry about what it looks like, because we're going to sand it, we're going to distress it, we're going to have the poppies going on. But it kind of helped, I think, just to add it in that corner right there. Okay. So let's dry that really quick. It's a little teeny piece. But I think overall it's going to make our flag project look nice. And I would be showing you the finished sample, but I left it at the store. I left it at the shop, at my studio. I have a store and studio called the Little Blue House. And tonight I'm coming to you from my studio at home. So see, just that little tiny bit right there, just that little tiny bit, and it'll make a little more sense when we start to put on the poppies. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and move on to the poppies. If I was doing this whole thing with you live, okay, I would actually, after I did this side, I would turn it over and do the same exact thing. It is the same exact thing on this side, okay, with the flag. Same angle, same everything. So just to save you some time tonight, because I know your time is precious, I'm going to be doing this whole front side, but I just want you to know I do the same thing on the reverse side, okay? Nothing different, okay? So what we're going to move on now, we're going to move to now is the poppies, okay? see. Does anybody have any questions? What kind of dryer do I have? This is my Ranger. And I know, look how dirty it is. It's like, it's well loved, very well loved, well used. And it's the Heat It tool. So it's Heat It craft tool by Ranger. Mine is white. I think they only make black now. I think they're all black now. But I love it. It's not real loud and it's not real big and it puts off plenty of heat. Okay, so now we're going to add poppies. And y'all, this is fun because you can add as many poppies as you want. You're going to take your napkin and just kind of fussy cut around some of these poppies. And I love these little blue flowers. I don't know what they are, but I love them. I think they are so cute. So I'm going to add some of those as well. Now I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Let me get this cut out. I'm doing what I call a loose fussy cut. What does that mean? Well, that means I'm kind of like bubbling around. Okay, I didn't go into that blue flower and do all of those little pieces. You can see just a little bit of white going around. Okay, that to me is what I call a loose fussy cut. So I'm going to sit here and just kind of play and cut a few poppies. You can add as many as you want. That is going to be up to you. And my sample that I did, my honor house that's up at the blue house, this one's going to actually be here at my house, so I've been anxious to get it done. I did it a little bit. That's the one thing that I did a little different on both sides is one side I added more poppies and one side I added less. It doesn't matter. You get to determine how much, and you're going to have plenty of poppies to choose from on your napkin that's in your kit. You got lots of options. Some of them are going to look like that, like almost like the side view. I'm not separating them yet because I just am kind of laying them on here so I can decide how many I'm going to do. And even like this, I'm just going to go ahead and cut around some of these because I may add one of these somewhere. Yeah, it's a nice dryer, really easy. So it's Ranger and it's the Heat It craft tool. Heat It craft tool by Ranger. I think we might have a few in stock. We don't carry too many of those. But they're great. Oh, good. That's good, Paula. That would be cute if you wanted to add some flowers on the top or something. Bachelor buttons. Okay, Holly, that's somebody told me that too. That's good to know. Okay. I'm gonna post the link again to did it do it? Nope, didn't do it. Okay, I'm gonna post the link again to the honor house. In case anybody out there wants a kit. Okay, so I have a couple of, I've got this bachelor button. I think that's what it is too. And then I'm going to cut another flower here. This will be fun for y'all, just because we're going to just collage them in. We're just going to kind of collage them, which means they'll be overlapping. So that's why I'm kind of just fussy cutting a few here. And I'm going to start with the actual poppies first because they're larger. And then you can just kind of fill in with the little blue bachelor button flowers. Gosh, try to say that 3 times fast. That's a tough one. Okay. All right. Okay. This is looking pretty good. I think I'm going to pull that one here this way. They'll all look different, so don't be surprised if this looks different from my other, from the sample, the picture, because they're gonna look different depending on which flowers you cut and if you cut all big ones or small ones or the angle that you put them on. all those things. But it's really easy. We're just going to kind of cluster and collage them all in this one area. And I'm going to just kind of hold this up and hope that they don't all fall off, just so you can kind of see. Can everybody kind of see that without me holding it up? Do you see I have 3 poppies? I mean, you're just going to, again, it's up to you if you use small ones, large ones, however you want to mix and blend them in on this side, this corner of the flag. Okay? So once you've kind of laid them out and you figure out kind of where you want them to go, well, then we've got to put them down. Now, some of these, I'm going to go ahead and take off these 2 little ones. Some of these, okay, actually I should put them back. Hang on. I need to put them back. Okay, so I'm going to kind of tuck those in there. Okay, so I have everything laying here. Some of this is on top of the flag, right? So I don't necessarily want to see the stripes kind of coming through the flowers. I want the flowers to stay pure to themselves, right? So here's my trick. Here's my tip for this. If you have a pencil, you could use a pencil, but honestly, I like to use a friction pen, okay? And if you're wondering what a friction pen is, I'm gonna show you a quick little demo here. Actually, I'll do it on the back of the little honor piece here. This is in your kit also for decoration, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. So I'm going to just do a little scribbling with my friction pen. And by the way, this is spelled friction, F-R-I-X-I-O-N by Pilot. We sell them at the Blue House, but you can find them where office supply products are sold. But it's erasable ink. With heat, this will erase, okay? So see, I'm kind of just scribbled on here. Well, watch what happens when I put heat on it. You can use your heat tool, and it's just amazing because look, it's gone. Isn't that awesome? So this is why I like to use the friction tool, because then I can just pop it with a heat gun and it's gone. I don't have to try to erase pencil lines and all of that, okay? So I'm going to pull this back a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. So now that I have these laid out, okay? Now that I have these laid out, I'm going to kind of hold my hand over all of them, and I'm going to take my friction pen and I'm going to kind of do a very loose trace around these flowers. Okay, and I'm going to move it so I can show it to you, and I hope that you can see it okay. Okay, so it went right here. I'm going to do it a little bit darker so that you can see better. Okay, there's my line. Do you see it starts up here and it comes down here all the way down to there? Okay, everybody get that? So here's my little tip. Remember the white paint? I'm actually just going to dip my finger in the lid here, okay? This is white paint, not Mod Podge. This is the same paint I painted the block with. And watch what I'm going to do. You could do it with a paintbrush, but I don't know why. I just like using my finger. So I'm just kind of patting it. Does not have to be super opaque. I just want some white underneath these collaged poppies, all right, and bachelor button flowers. And does everybody understand why? That's important. I want to make sure everybody understands why. Because the tissue is so thin that it's going to show through. Whatever you put it underneath, it's going to show through. So like part of my flowers are on top of the blue part of the flag. Well, that blue plus red turns into purple, okay? So if navy through red is going to look purple, well, I don't want purple on this, right? Does that make sense? So I'm just coming in, and it doesn't have to be like perfectly painted in, okay? And that's what I've done. All right, I just did it with my finger. You can see I pulled up that napkin a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna go right back down on top of it. You could do it with a paintbrush if you want to. however, whatever you want to do, okay? And this is a really nice tip because I like to collage and layer napkins all the time, but it's hard because they show through each other. So you have to kind of think harder about like, what should I put on the bottom and what should I put on the top? Well, this is a nice little tip to help you with that, okay? Really super easy. Now I'm gonna dry the paint, and what's gonna happen when I dry the paint? Do you remember? What's gonna happen to the friction pen when I dry the paint? Thank you for the stars, y'all. Thank you. Well, my pen lines are going to disappear, which I'm about to show you. Oops. So now when you look at this, there's no pen lines. Like you can't see the pen lines at all. And now I kind of have my little place. My arrangement is kind of set. I'm going to add my Mod Podge, and I'm going to start collaging in my flowers. Now for me, it's easy. I'm gonna go ahead and separate the flowers, and then I'm gonna lay them back in place again. I'm gonna separate them, lay them back in place again, because then I have to figure out which flower's on the bottom, right? Because that'll be the flower that goes on first. And another tip, okay? This is a good tip because now that I'm looking at this, I'm trying to remember. When you first have your flowers laid out, take a picture with your cell phone. Take a picture with your cell phone, because I promise the second the flowers get taken off, you won't be able to remember where they were. I'm going to do the best that I can here, but you won't be able to remember where they were. It happens. Okay, that's looking good. I think I had it like that. So take a picture with your cell phone. Even though I know you think you're going to remember, I always think I'm going to remember, and then I don't. But it's okay. You kind of have your white area to know where they were before, and you can just kind of play with that. So I can tell that this one, I remember this one was kind of right here. This one was a little bit more sideways, like that. And then I have my blue flowers. I'm going to do my blue flowers last. Okay, so that being said, now I know that this is my order. This one, then this one, then this one. Okay, so let's get the Mod Podge. Sorry, I have my ceiling fan on and it's trying to blow my flowers. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Hopefully. All right, I hope that makes sense. I may have to go back and look at comments that I missed. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my Mod Podge. Don't worry about getting Mod Podge on top of the flag napkin, because when this is all over, we're gonna put a coat of Mod Podge over the whole thing anyway to seal the napkin. So you don't have to worry about that. All right, so this one is going just like that. And it's okay if the flowers go over the edge. We'll just kind of wrap them around the edge of the block. And then this one is on here. Now, if there's a part of your napkin where it overlaps, you're going to very gently put a little more Mod Podge on top of the napkin on top of the flower that's going to get overlapped. I still haven't pounced anything yet. I'm working with the whole thing before I pounce. Keep adding Mod Podge if it starts to dry. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I've got a little bit right here where this one overlaps. And now I'm going to add my little teeny flowers, my little bachelor button flowers. That's what I've been told that they are. So I'm going to add one up here. And again, it's okay to go over the edge going to pounce everything at one time. Let's see, where do I want this one? I think I had this one over here, but I think I had it over here. I can't remember. Actually, I think I like it better down here. So change-a-roo here. Switcheroo. That's okay. And if you realize you have a hole, you can always go back in and add some more. All right, so here we go. I'll show this to you just a second. I can see that I need a little bit of Mod Podge right underneath this edge of this flower. Get quite enough there. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Now there's still something else we're going to do to the poppies. All right, look how pretty. Isn't that pretty? So, you know, I layered up quite a bit here, the bigger ones, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you'd like. I'm going to dry them. I don't see too many questions. That's good. That means I must be explaining things okay. Now this is where I was talking about. Do you see how the flowers on the edge kind of go over the edge? You can even add more flowers on the sides of your honor house if you choose to. I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge right down this side. And then I'm just going to wrap these around the edge. So I could come in here and add more flowers, maybe another flower right here at the bottom. Make sure that your flag is on the other side first in case it wraps around to the other side. Okay, so remember, I'm just doing one side right now, but I normally would do flag on one side, flag on the back side. Start working the poppies, start working with the poppies. So kind of back and forth, back and forth. I'm overlapping just a little bit on the bottom. Instead of sanding it, I'm just gonna press it down. Okay, so guess what's gonna happen next? I'm gonna add some pen work. I love adding pen work to my napkins, but I cannot add pen work until I put a top coat over these napkins, because if I put my pen to the napkin before it has a top coat on it, guess what could happen? Well, the napkin could absorb the ink and it could blur, okay? It could kind of smear and blur. So I like to always have a top coat on, and this is just a thin coat of Mod Podge over the whole thing. I'm not going to do my sides right now because I still need to do this side, but you're going to do this top coat over everything, okay? Because we've got to seal that napkin. This way you can clean your honor house. You don't have to worry if a spill happens, or your grandkids pick it up and they have dirty fingers or whatever. I'm just going to dry the Mod Podge. The Mod Podge will go on milky. It'll look kind of milky, but it's going to dry crystal clear. But anytime you collage things on top of each other, sometimes the flowers can, because this is flowers, the flowers can get lost. Okay, does that make sense? When you put a poppy on top of a poppy and then another poppy, well, all that red from the poppies, they can kind of get lost. So anytime you do, or I do, collage work, a lot of times I like to go in and do some pen work on top of it. So now it's completely dry. Isn't it gorgeous, y'all? Just so pretty. So now that it's completely dry, I'm going to show you the pens that I like to use. I really like using Faber-Castell Pitt pens. This is the medium tip. The reason I like these is because they're actually made for mixed media. They're made for mixed media. They're made to write on top of paint or watercolor or Mod Podge or whatever it is, okay? The other thing I love about them is when they're dry, They're steadfast. They won't react with water again. They're permanent. They're waterproof. They're nothing's gonna, you know, mess up the ink. Okay. So I'm gonna take this. Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna show you the before. And now I'm gonna do some pen work on one of the poppies. I'm gonna do pen work on the poppy that's on the top first. Y'all understand what that means, what I mean by that? And y'all, pen work, especially with these poppies, if you're worried that you have shaky hands or something like that, it actually looks better. I think pen work looks really good when it's not too exact, okay? We don't want it to be too exact. You can kind of be wiggly, especially since it is these beautiful poppies. You can even create different layers on top of your poppies. Okay, so look at my top poppy. Isn't that pretty, y'all? And it's so easy. You don't have to be super precise. I think going faster is better because you're not thinking, and they just look so much better to me. And now that poppy really is distinct, right? The petals are distinct. So I'm going to go to my next poppy over here. This will be the one that's not the bottom one. I don't know exactly how to say that, but I think you get what I'm talking about. Now you cannot do this pen work if your poppy is wet. Okay, that top coat of Mod Podge has to be completely dry. And as I said, you can kind of come in here, you can kind of create your own layers. Now this poppy comes over on the side, so I'm going to make sure I do some pen work here on the side as well. Be wiggly with it. Be kind of wiggly with it. And it's going to look so much more organic, I guess is the right word. Isn't that pretty? And now all I have left to do now is the top one. Very quickly, don't think, especially with flowers, let your fingers just kind of go loose. Just barely let the tip kind of hit. You don't have to press too hard with these pens. And make sure if it overlaps on the other side that you complete that pen work. What do you think about the pen work? I think it just makes it. I think personally, it just really makes it. I think it's gorgeous, okay? Now I'm going to show you one thing that's sticking out to me, okay? There's one thing here that's really sticking out to me. Is there anything sticking out to y'all? We'll see if it sticks out to both of us. And you can decide. Thank you for the hearts, y'all. Thank you. It just makes such a huge difference, okay? The thing that's sticking out to me is this little blank spot right here. Okay, that's sticking out to me. That's the white paint that I pounced on, so it doesn't look like the flag over here, right? It doesn't have that same kind of look. So if you wind up having a little spot like this, that's where you're going to add another flower. So it might be a bud. I think I'm going to add another of these, of the blue ones. I just love these blue flowers. I think they are just adorable. And it can just be right there and then just wrapped around to the other side. So it's okay to go in and patch, even if your pen work is done. You just have to be sure that your pen work is dry, because if you're using your Pitt pens, it will not react with water again. So I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podge here. And I'm going to tuck in just a little bit of this flower, just a teeny bit. And then I'm going to wrap it around to the other side. So it's okay, even if your pen work is already done. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a little top coat over it. don't forget to do that. If you patch something, make sure you put a top coat over it. But that, to me, it took care of that little hole, that little spot. Okay, isn't that pretty? I see one more little spot here. I want to add just a little more. It's okay to kind of go outside the lines. All right, you can kind of go around double trace. Some of these I just kind of create my own, you know, I mean, it's just up to you. You could do some around the blue flowers too if you wanted to. That is totally up to you. I'm just going to dry this little patched piece that I did, and then we're going to decorate the top. It's that easy. Also, if you want anything to sparkle, like maybe you want the stars to sparkle on your flag. Let's do that real quick. I didn't do it on my other flag, but let's go ahead and do it just so that way you can see. If you want something else to sparkle, I really love using diamond stickles. I like diamond and I like crystal, but I love the diamond, especially on the flag here. This is like a glitter glue. So once your top coat is on, and you see how you have this little tiny applicator here, I can come in and just squeeze in like a dot on each star. I'm just going to squeeze the dot on each star, and then I'm going to take the tip and I'm going to kind of spread it. You could do it with a paintbrush, but a lot of times the paintbrush kind of picks up more of your sparkle than maybe you were really wanting to get rid of. And then I'm just going to move it. It's like you're coloring. Color it in. And there's another little teeny star over here that's got a poppy kind of overlapping it. So you can add this sparkle to it on the top coat. And let's see if we can see. Do you see? You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but they're sparkling there. And that's really pretty the way that, you know, because the light could catch it wherever you set it to have a little sparkle. Okay. Of course, then you can dry it. If it's really thin, it won't take any time to dry at all. That's why I like to kind of just squeeze a little bit and then move it around. Okay. Okay. So there is my house. My napkinizing is done. Y'all, I would be doing the same thing on the back side, but I might do the flowers differently. Okay? And I did on my other sample, so it's just up to you how you want to do it. You also, if you didn't want to do poppies on the back side, you've got extra flags here. So you could just take the stripes from another flag and continue them down the block. Okay? So you have that option to do too. So let's finish it off. I love adding a few frills to my projects, and so this is what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my glue gun so it can be getting hot. And let's see if you have any questions. I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Tell me how you like the Honor House. Do you like it? I hope you do. Your comments are kind of going in and out on my other camera, so I'm going to look here. The houses are one of your favorites. Aw, that's awesome. I saw you, Diane, that you did several this week, and they were so pretty. I love them. I do love our series on these. I mean, it's just so much fun. Okay, so this is also in your kit, some crochet trim, and this is something that you're going to learn about me. I love creams and whites together. I know some people feel like if a project just has white, it needs to be white. Or if it's cream, it just needs to be cream. But y'all, I like cream and white together. So I'm going to take this cream and white crocheted lace. You're also going to have a piece of red and white twine in your kit and a little red button, okay? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually make a pretty little bow for our house. I wanted some softness on it. And I think this is just perfect. So I'm layering these two together, right? I have my cream and my cream on top of my white. It doesn't matter which one's on the top. And I'm gonna make a loop, and then I'm gonna make a loop this way. Oops, except for, okay, that's about right. So you can kind of see what will happen here when this comes down here and this comes down here. It kind of looks like a bow, right? Crocheted lace is really hard to tie into a knot. It would be really bulky and it just would not look pretty. So let's do this again. You can kind of layer it in your hand if you want to, okay? So there's a piece, and then I'm gonna go over underneath the bottom of it, and there's a piece, okay? So you can kind of see it like that. Whoops, if I can keep the tails up. So now I'm just gonna lay this down on top of this red and white twine, and then I'm gonna tie this off in the center. And I didn't get it quite in the center, so let me move it just a bit. Perfect. And tie it really, really tight. So tie it really, really tight in a double knot. Okay, we want it to be really, really tight. And then you're gonna pull your tails downward. Don't worry about the length of the tails because we can go back in. And then you're gonna separate your loops. And I like having them opposite. So I'm gonna pull white on top and then cream on top. Okay, do you see what I'm getting? I'm getting a cute little bow here. Okay, getting a cute little bow. Don't worry about the tails again. Don't worry about the tails right now. So now that I have this cute little bow, I'm actually gonna tie another bow. I'm gonna tie a bow from the red and white twine. And this can be as big or as little as you want. If you like big loopy loops or not, whichever. And then I'm going to tie a knot in the tail, each tail of the ribbon. And after I tie the knot, I'm going to just trim off a little bit underneath it. This is because this type of twine really wants to unravel. And so I'm going to tie the knot, trim it a little bit, and then I'm actually going to unravel the part underneath the knot. And I love that because it looks like a little tassel. You see those okay? Except for this one is way shorter than this one, so let me tie another knot. I don't care if they're exact, they don't have to be exactly even, but this one was a little way off. Perfect. Okay, here we go. All right, so now I'm gonna put this on my house. And I have to actually look at this. I'm gonna have to look at it when I glue it on, but I'm just gonna put this on with hot glue. And I'm using a good little bit. See, kind of a good little bit there. And I'm going to actually take this bow into it and then slide it. So I like kind of not putting my glue right in the center, just kind of right to an edge, and then pushing the bow into it, especially with crocheted lace, because then it will spread kind of all over the bow. Now you can kind of play with your loops. I'm going to trim my tails just in a slant cut. Isn't that pretty? I think it looks so pretty. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to put the button right in the center of the twine. So just the twine bow, the knot, just put the hot glue right on to that. And it just finishes it off beautifully, I think. Get glue here. See how pretty that looks? I think it looks so pretty. And then what will happen is this twine will eventually, it will kind of start to relax. But if you have a tail that's kind of like gone wild, or a loop that's kind of gone wild, you can actually just use a little bit of hot glue, a little drop here or there. I'm just going to put a drop on that side and on this side. And then I'm going to kind of be the boss of it. I'm going to make it stay where I want it to stay. Perfect. Isn't that pretty? I think it looks so pretty. And that is my honor house. It's really an easy, fun project to put together and a beautiful result. And then I'm going to show you one more thing. If you're so inclined, I mean, it's beautiful like this. It can sit, it can be a shelf sitter, it could be on a tray or a tier tray, something like that. But it also looks really good to stand these houses on something else. So this is a little candlestick, wood candlestick that we carry that I just painted out of the same color, and I antiqued it with some antique wax. But it could be anything, a candlestick, anything you have at home. You might have a spool or just something. But look how pretty it looks on top, standing up like that. I think they look really pretty layered. You wouldn't even have to attach it, just stand it on it. And I think it looks gorgeous. I'm really, really pleased. And of course, my back side would be done too, so which I will finish this one out. I'll make sure that I get my back done too, because again, I like the projects to look pretty from the front and the back. Okay. So there's the honor house. What do you think, girls? Do you like it? I think it's gorgeous. And again, if you decide you want to add more sparkle, you can add more sparkle. Sorry, I got some glue hairs. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make this today. Do you have a favorite part? Like, do you have a favorite technique that you learned today? If you do, tell me in the comments. Man, the pin work just makes it. The pin work, and it's such an easy thing to do. The pin work just totally makes it, don't you think? Oh, I forgot the honor part. Thank you. Almost forgot. Okay, oops. This is in everybody's kit, this little honor part. Okay, it's been hand stamped. It's ready to go. We're gonna turn it into a little flag. Thank you so much. See, that happens when you're creating. You kind of like you just kind of get in the zone and you lose sight. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming down the honor, but I'm leaving a little bit on the end because I'm going to cut a little flag end. Okay, and this is how I do that. I'm going to cut a snip right up the center. Okay, see that? A little slit right up the center. And then I'm going to cut from one corner to the top of that slit and the other corner to the top of that slit. Okay, and it just makes a little, some people call this a flag end, some people call it a dovetail, but that's what it makes. Now, because I did pin work, I'm going to do a little bit of pin work on this also. So I'm going to take my same pin, and then when your hand lifts up, I just want you to skip a space. Don't try to connect all the lines. You can even go over this a couple of times to kind of make it look a little, I call it a double trace. So again, it's not so perfect. A little more, I don't know, artsy. It looks a little more like the poppies. Okay. Not pretty? Thank you so much for reminding me. Oh my gosh, like that's the whole part of this house, that it says honor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick off this button. Actually, here, I'm going to touch the tip of the button of the glue gun underneath the button, and that melts the glue. And then I can just peel it off. Perfect. Okay. Goodness gracious. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue behind this honor, and I'm going to bend this maybe just a little bit so it looks a little curved. You see how I kind of curved it? Maybe all the tails kind of come out a little bit. And let me peel the glue off this button, and then I'm going to put the button right back on. Just try not to cover up your H. It'll just be kind of off on the center. So I'm going to put a little tiny dot of hot glue on here. There we go. Now we're finished. And there's our honor. Isn't that pretty? And it's so pretty again because especially when you're looking at it, when you're looking kind of down on it, it just looks so gorgeous. This is just paper, so you can shape it. You can kind of mold it, shape it any way that you want. If you feel like you want to put that somewhere else, it doesn't have to be up here in your bow. It could be down here in your poppies, wherever you want it to be. And there it is. And now we're really finished.